we going at?
It's alright. It's alright.
6:19 on a Thursday.
She moves in mysterious ways. Decided to go check out the local liquor store chain, Twin Liquors, having their dollar sale right now. So we're gonna go check out and see if we can find anything cool down there. But I have to have a video out by tomorrow, otherwise Vito's gonna be very, very upset with me. So we figured, why not?
Oh, there's a stoplight.
Why not?
Yeah.
Totally paying attention. Oh God. That's not creepy at all. My intention was to put out what we're calling those drained drams reviews. Bottles that we've finished and want to give kind of a final score, a final opinion on. Obviously inspired by the awesome recycled reviews by our friend Roy Aquavite. We wanted to put our own little spin on that. So I picked 3 whiskeys that I have empty bottles on that I want to give kind of a final opinion on. I'll splice in some pictures, I'm sure, when I edit this tonight, and so you guys can have that sweet bottle pouring. But the first one I want to talk about, I actually finished last night, the last little bit of an Irish whiskey called the Sexton. Of course, lots of people have been trying. It's actually a fantastic value. It's a pretty low priced bottle, around like $25–30 I think in most places. That's about what we pay for it here. And it does have an odd shape to it. It's a little bit difficult to pour, but it's a very cool looking bottle. It's a very reasonable price. And I mean, to be honest, when I first opened this bottle, I was really impressed with it. I mean, it's a single malt Irish whiskey, so 100% made with malted barley. You can tell that there's some sherry cask influence in there as well. But I really liked it when I first opened the bottle. I was so impressed for the price, and then it just quickly, as it went down and as it sat there open and as I kept coming back to it, it got more and more disappointing to me, to where it was just thin, bright, brittle, kind of a little bit of the new make kind of vibe to it. You could tell it didn't have a lot of age on it, not a lot of complexity. And by the time I got to the last pours of it, I was just really disappointed overall. That said, it's not bad whiskey per se. It's just, it started off so promising and then just kind of fell off a cliff for me. So I would recommend it if you want an Irish whiskey on a budget that's reasonably decent. But I think just spending a little bit more on something like even a Jameson Black Barrel, I would prefer Jameson Black Barrel any day to the Sexton. So I guess that's my final thoughts on that. I'd give it maybe 6, maybe 5.5 out of 10, something like that. You know, if this was Ralphie, like Ralphie should do reviews in his car, I think, and you could call them mobile malt marks or something like that. Hello, you marvelous mobile malt monsters, something like that. Do the Ralphie thing. So the next one that I have an empty bottle of that we wanted to give final thoughts on in our drained drams reviews is Ardbeg Uigeadail. Now, I think, of course, this one goes without saying. It's an absolute staple. It's a classic whiskey. It's a fantastic combination of that fruit and sweet sherry influence, and then also the meaty, smoky Ardbeg. It's so bacony and just delicious. In fact, a friend of ours, a friend of the channel, Matthew, he tends to hold Uigeadail as like the standard against which all other whiskeys are judged, regardless of style. It doesn't matter if it's an Irish whiskey, an American whiskey. It's like, it's in terms of value. How many Uigeadails could I purchase for the cost of this bottle? So that's, he has his rating system in his head in terms of Uigeadails. So that's that. I mean, I think it's cask strength. If not, it's close to that. It may not be exactly cask strength, but it's pretty high up there in the ABV. So it's it's got a lot going on, a lot of intense flavors, a lot of complexity, and just that combination of sweet, smoky, and savory all at the same time really just does it for me. I think that's one. As soon as I run out, I've got to have another. Ardbeg Uigeadail is probably out of the core range of the Anno, the 10, the Corey Vrecken, and Uigeadail. Uigeadail is probably my personal favorite overall, the one that I keep coming back to and never get tired of. And I think it's an excellent value for money and just a really, really well done Islay whiskey. So the last one I want to talk about, I would say, in some ways, it's kind of like the Octomore of Texas, and that's Balcones Brimstone, right? It tends to be, in my experience, a love it or hate it thing. I'm a fan of it. I enjoy it. It's not something I want all the time, but there's definitely, at the same time, nothing else like it. There are other hardwood smoked whiskeys out there, and nothing's quite the same as Brimstone. So Brimstone is a corn whiskey, same as their Baby Blue, their True Blue cask strength. It's the same distillate, right? But Brimstone is oak smoked, and unlike the comparison I was saying to the Islay whiskeys earlier, unlike that, in which the barley is smoked with peat, the actual finished whiskey is smoked with oak in a secret process that you have to be in the inner circle of Balcones, I'm sure, to know what the secret to Brimstone is. But to me, it tastes like distilled Texas brisket. It smells like a barbecue pit. It tastes like oak smoke, but also it's got this like corn sweetness behind it. It reminds you of like a barbecue sauce. So it's like deeply rich, intense, smoky barbecue. And what could be more Texas than that, right? And that really turns some people off. The smoke profile can be just a bit too aggressive. Other people actually find it not so much smoky, but very, very sweet. I could see that as well. So it's definitely, in my experience, like I said, a love it or hate it thing. I'm a fan. I think the empty one that I have at home is actually the first bottle of Balcones that I ever bought. Because we went to the distillery. I heard that there was this cool place out in Waco and I should check it out, and we went out to the Chip and Joanna Gaines Magnolia Silos, and I said, while we're here, let's stop in and check out this whiskey distillery. And I remember sitting there and trying their sort of house flight, and Brimstone was the one that I thought, I've never tasted anything like this. This is so unique, so interesting. It reminds me so much of Texas barbecue. That was the bottle I decided I had to bring home that day. So I always keep it around, and like I said, I don't go through it very quickly. It's not something that I want all the time. But if you're a fan of smoky whiskeys, and if you like oak smoked Texas barbecue, give it a try if you haven't already. Brimstone for me, just in terms of sheer the uniqueness of it, the little bit of a cult kind of novelty whiskey, but because it's so different and so unique, so creative and original, I have to give Brimstone, I think, an 8.5 out of 10. Did I rate the Uigeadail? Did I rate the Uigeadail? I forget. I don't think I did. Uigeadail, I'm gonna give a Geez, I want to give it a 9 out of 10, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I'll give it a 9 out of 10 because Uigeadail is that good. It is that good. Yeah, so this is the good twin liquors. Oh my God, there's still a line. Holy crap. So I actually came to this store at 10 o'clock this morning when they opened.
Because you had a doctor's appointment.
And
whiskey-itis.
yeah, no, I ran down here and I picked up they had a bottle of Glendronach 18 that was on a pretty good sale. They had Garrison Brothers Cowboy Bourbon that was also on a pretty good sale, and what they had Glenglassa Torfa, the heavily peated Glenglassa, and I was gonna grab those 3. By the time I'd sort of made the rounds and checked everything out, tried to find what I thought were the best deals, looked at some of the independent bottlers too, which I'm probably gonna go check out here again now that I've got a little more time. The line was easily 50 plus people deep, and I didn't have an hour to stand in line to go buy some whiskey today. I had actual work to do, believe it or not.
You know what the funny part is?
What?
My office is like 2 blocks from here.
That's hilarious. What, you could have come and stood in line for me? No. I wouldn't have asked you to do that. But I witnessed an actual fight over a cart, like a shopping cart, right? I was minding my own business, trying to pick out some whiskey, and this guy was also minding his own business. He had a few whiskey bottles in his cart, and he kind of pushed it off to the side to just go and grab something he saw on the other shelf there. This other fine gentleman decides to come up and start emptying the bottles out of this guy's cart and place them on the floor in order to take the cart for himself. This guy's not gone 60 seconds, I don't think. He turns around and he goes, "Hey man, that's my cart." And he says, "So what? You can find another one."
That's not very magnificent.
That is not very magnificent. Super not cool. So I don't know how that situation got resolved, but if you're that guy, don't be that guy. That's not cool. So that was a unexpected, exceptionally pleasant experience. I find that a lot of times, not to sound like a snob or anything, but I'll be a little bit snobby right now. A lot of times I go into a liquor store and I don't really want help, and I find that the advice that I get isn't often the best, but I'm always really pleasantly surprised when I do get help from somebody in a liquor store that really knows their whiskey and is passionate about it. And that's exactly what we found here tonight. The dude that helped us out was awesome. He knew all about the independent bottlings and stuff like that, which is something that I've never bought before. I've had a few, but I've been curious to get into it more, and he gave me a lot of good advice, and he tried a lot of them personally. So here's what we ended up getting. I'll start with this one, not an independent bottling. We picked up the Glendronach 18-year-old on a good deal. I like the Glendronach 15. I've got that at home, and I've had this before in a bar and really enjoyed it. And just a fantastic heavy sherry whiskey. So we got one of those. We also picked up, he pointed out to me that this is a release that's going away, the Old Pulteney 17. You're not going to see this anymore. So he recommended I snag one of these, and again, this is one I have had before and know that I really enjoy, so it's a good pickup as well. And then the next two we got are independent bottlings, because that's been kind of a goal for me this year, is to get a little more into that world of trying these unique single cask, these things that aren't available in the normal distillery expressions. So the first one we got was the Maltman 18-year-old Aaron. And if you look closely, it gives you all the cool little nerdy details there. So this is an 18-year-old port cask at 46%, and I'm quite looking forward to this. The regular Aaron port cask I think is okay. I much prefer like Glenmorangie Quinta Reuben to that, but this one being a much older whiskey, spending much more time in the port cask. The guy inside said he thinks it took to it very well. And then the other one that we snagged is a Gordon MacPhail cast strength Ardbeg, distilled in 2000. So I don't think that means it's 18 years old. I think this was 14 years old actually. It's not only cast strength and some fairly well-aged Ardbeg. It has this great description: smoked cured meat aromas with hints of leather and orange. The palate is sweet with fruit flavors, complemented by hints of bonfire embers. So looking forward to giving this a try. So all in all, I think a successful trip to the store this evening. Got some good deals and got some really cool whiskeys. So look forward to drinking them, doing some reviews or putting them on our live streams. So like, comment, subscribe. We probably won't do too many of these in the car in the future.
Maybe we should.
But maybe we will.
Maybe this will be a request from the people.
Maybe car cast strength mobile reviews, something like that. But anyway, thanks guys for checking it out. We'll see you next time. Cheers.